WV Uncommonplace. This podcast is a variety podcast that houses numerous series to cover mental health, empowerment, podcast framework, and various intimate theories to get to know the hosts. Along with occasional movies reviews and dives in pop culture with our event podcast episodes. The Uncommonplace digs into bringing guests on that stories don't fit the mold and are very different. WV stands for the great state of West Virginia, and every quarter we cover something in West Virginia. Stacey and myself, JR, are your hosts, so please come along for this venture to our Uncommonplace.
Welcome to West Virginia Uncommonplace. I'm JR.
I'm Stacey.
And we are in Orlando, Florida. This is the first part of a 3-part series that's going to still be one episode, but maybe we might break it up. We are at Podfest Expo. But we're just going to call it Podfest because all the extra stuff is fun. And this is our first podcast conference. We were invited here. I want to give a special shout out to Alex Sanfilippo and the rest of the people over at Pod Match, Pod Pros for getting us tickets to come. And the next thing that I'd like to say is I want to say thank you to Stacey for organizing all the travel accommodations. So if you ever have to do travel accommodations, she is the one person that you can definitely go to figure it out on the airport, the tickets, the hotel, the rental car, and everything else that can make your trip fun. Hopefully one day she'll start her own travel agency.
That's an idea.
Yeah.
Work from home.
Yep, you already work from home. Right. Second job. Side hustle. Listen, 4 monitors, travel on one side, real work on the other side.
Yeah, but unfortunately I'm paid by the hour on my other job, so I would have to do that after I clock out.
Right. Or pay me to be your assistant.
True. Yeah. I could
just throw it all away and risk it all.
Right. We'll jump head first in the podcasting world. You can do that full time. Open up to some sponsors, anybody out there wanting to get some advertisement put into our shows, or Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, whatever you want your information out there, hit us up. wvuncommonplace@gmail.com.
Yes, and you can always head over to our amazing website, which is kept up. I check on it every 2 weeks or so.
The easiest place, though, is Instagram or email.
Yeah, or through our Instagram, you hit that link tree, you can find everything.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, just link tree, you find everything. Now, talking about the podcast, there's some things that have to be understood about this before we go forward in the conversation. So, for our show, Stacey is a co-host. She works on promotion in the end of that. She handles our apparel, our quick apparel, our specialty when we do limited run stuff. And she actually handles a part that she really didn't realize, or I really didn't realize. She actually handles the marketing of our QR codes, basically our marketing on the side of the physical stuff that I place in different places and send to other podcasters. So she does a lot inside there. Now, my part with different people that help out with the Trevors and the other people that help out with our audio and different things that I have them do when I have people do stuff. We have an assorted amount of people, even Lisa Shealy helping out at some point with different things, and other people. So we have people. And
she is the
virtual. Yeah. So, yes. So we have different people doing different things to help us out. But for the most part, when it comes to the true promotional arm of anything that goes through Canva that you see, I usually handle that stuff, but I have it to a preferred method of, I don't spend a lot of time on it.
Right. Well, I mean, because you've not perfected, because obviously there's always room for improvement.
And growth.
And yes, but in our sense of the word, you've perfected, hey, let's do the research. Send me your photos, what you want out there, and it takes you just a few seconds to create your cover for each episode. And I do enjoy the fact that a lot of your episodes are different, and that you always include the person you're doing your interview with, as long as they provide you with a photo that you guys can agree on. Yeah.
Right. So when me and you do our stuff together, our stuff is the fun stuff that we have fun with, the reviews, and we have a series. She's getting on me right now because I don't know if I'm nervous or not, just because we're here. I keep rubbing my pants, and my pants are this polyester blend, so it's like a
So if you hear a little bit of, that's just JR rubbing his legs.
I don't know if I'm nervous, but I usually dance when I'm talking.
No, you don't.
Or maybe I am having.
I think you're anxious. I don't want to say you're nervous or worried or anything like that. I think it's because I've kept you in the room. It's 10:30 right now as we're doing this podcast, and usually he's up and going.
Yeah.
I have to have time. I got up at 7:30 this morning. We didn't go down to breakfast until 8 o'clock because I can't open my eyes and go. JR is that type of person. He's going to open his eyes and he's 100 miles an hour. So I have to slam the brakes on him. And I think that's what it is. You're just getting cooped up, and like you said, we're here in Florida, and the last time I looked, it was already 75 degrees outside. So I think you just want to go enjoy it.
More than likely, and like I said, just like with the work and stuff I do, 5 a.m. to 1 p.m., I'm high octane.
Right.
After 1 p.m., I might not be a shadow of the person I am at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Right. So just anybody out there listening that might meet us at this Podfest.
Yes.
If it's after 1 o'clock and he's winding down a little bit, just give him a soda, a pop, or something with caffeine in it, and he'll perk right up.
Yeah, no doubt in that. So we're doing this as our first impression.
Yes.
For me, like the reason I told that story about our production and stuff like that is because it's not the promotional arm that I hurt in.
Right.
I hurt in and everybody hurts in this that's in medium tier podcasting. It's the hardcore monetization.
Yes.
It's actually, and this is 100% honesty here, it's actually keeping money inside the podcast through monetization, because things happen and you get sponsors, you get different things, they come and go.
Right.
And you have money streams, but it would be nice to just have something that has longevity, that you don't have to go and do all this extra stuff. And it actually comes to the actual marketing side of the podcasting. I can market to a certain degree.
Right.
But I don't have the elevation and the means to do it all, and nobody does. So it's a great way and the whole model of this is for the people that are in the middle of podcasting.
Right, and I think that you have really good ideas, and you help people out. And I think what is, I don't want to say harmful, but something that maybe kind of slows us down a little bit is our area. Our location. West Virginia is great to live in. Trust me, I would rather live there than any of these bigger areas, just because it's, how do I want to word this without being rude? When we got down here yesterday and just having to deal with people, I wanted to go back home. Like anywhere that we travel to, the people are rude. They're disrespectful. They don't know how to drive. They swerve in and out of traffic. Sorry, I don't do well with that stuff. And that's not everybody, but we encounter that a lot. So I'm not trying to, say that these places are better than our place, but our place is smaller. Like, what'd you tell me? The population of West Virginia was still 200,000 people less than the population of Orlando.
Yeah, the metropolitan area is 2+ million people,
right.
And we have 1.5 million in our whole state.
Right. So that's the difference. And like I said, I'm not dissing any of these bigger places, but I'm not used to that. But West Virginia doesn't invest in their smaller people. I guess they don't invest in somebody that's not going to make them money. So I feel like that's where we struggle, because we can't get our local people to invest in us as much as someone from Ohio.
Yeah. And that's one thing, if you don't mind, I'll take the floor on real quick. It's crazy that Pennsylvania, Ohio, Virginia, Maryland, Kentucky, these places, they go hard with our stuff. When we went to Jeffersonville, Indiana. Shout out to Indiana and Louisville. And I take a simple show and I post it we didn't even go to the mall. We went past the Matthews Mall in Louisville. I posted it while we were driving down the road, while you were driving down 64. And we got 300 new listeners from that. We stayed in Indiana, which was right across the river from Louisville. And in a week's time, we were there a week, right? Something like that, 4 or 5.
Yeah.
In 4 or 5 days, we had over 1,000 new listeners.
Right.
From those places. Now,
but you can't tell investors or sponsors that. Like, they're going to want to see it consistently. And no, like I said, no hate to anybody in West Virginia, but you have to find something that they're going to draw into, and everybody has a different range. So somebody from West Virginia isn't going to want to invest in a podcast that doesn't, center around West Virginia. And I get that.
Right, and that's something that even with the title of the name, I've been told by people that heard us a little bit, but as long as we started doing more, and when we first did our first convention, that's what really sparked this for me. When we did our first comic convention, and I seen that growth. We did an on the road live episode. We had a stick, we had a microphone, we had a Zoom recorder, and then we did a wrestling show. Wrestling show was a little different,
right?
But it was fun. We got to meet people, and then getting the rejection from some other Comic-Cons, which we won't say any names, it's no hate, because rejection has made us better, because when we didn't get to go to these events, we circled around and did different material. That's how Black Phone came about.
Right.
And when Black Phone, which is our highest show of 2022, it's just a movie review, and we're not even a movie review podcast. We just do spur of the moment movies here and there if it's good.
Right.
It showed me that we didn't have to niche down to be successful.
Right.
But for us to go another level, and then for me to eventually step into that echelon of where I can truly help people, and that could be the next hustle for me, I needed to come to Podfest, learn from these gurus, shake hands with this person, that person. I want to learn what I'm doing.
Not necessarily wrong, but wrong.
Wrong, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to learn how these people streamlined it. That's the best way.
How are you successful and I'm not when we're doing the same thing, kind of. Yeah.
Because in our category, and this is 100% honesty, and I don't do this to be rude, there are people that have lesser downloads, their show's not as popular, but they make more money. And that's what, it doesn't bother me, but I want to be that person. I'd rather not have, because fame doesn't make money.
Right. Because we had a really good example the other day. You were showing me while we were in Walmart. You have 900, or was it 500, reviews on Spotify.
Right.
And this other person had 0.
And they're making...
Yet she's making money.
Right.
She is living off of her stuff.
Right. And I look at that, and another thing, like, shout out to listennotes.com for whatever they do with the APIs and doing everything. I'm in the top 2 percentile of podcasters.
Yes.
And there's people that are not, that are making money.
Right.
More money.
Right. So, well, kind of like why we jumped into that is, where are you seeing your struggles with monetization? Like, what do you see happening that does bring you in money? Or is there something out there that you are doing that's kind of hindering your money bringing in? Or are you in the same boat as us? Like, you see your numbers, you see everything going great, but you're just not making money somewhere. Like, we want to talk about it. We want to talk to you. This is especially out to the other podcasters out there, because we know it's not just us.
Right. And I know that some of my own personal defects inside podcasting, like, I could not achieve the Patreon. Like, so many people have been like, oh, you should do a Patreon, blah, 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 and stop giving away so much free content. Well, I have content over on Apple. You can subscribe to it. It's $12 a year.
Right.
I want to do Patreon. I want to learn how to do it properly. So while we're at this event, that's another thing. I want to learn from people that are successful that use that as their chain of money. Patreon pays for everything. I want to be able to, even if I don't use Patreon, we use a different type of model, because there's an alternative to everything.
So I guess if you are successful in monetization, but you're not seeing the growth in reviews or user engagement, maybe we can do some trade-in.
Right. So that's what, this is what we're doing thus far. That's the type of stuff that I want to find out. And then with the technology, everybody knows that I'm the type of person that I want concise, tight, artificial intelligence if I got to. I love having editors for the sound and different things like that. But one thing I found out about sound editing. Like we're sitting here talking right now and we're doing this. We've got a pure form. Your mic's a certain way. I set the mics up the way I wanted them because I know how you're going to lean in and I know what I want to do.
I had to move mine around, so don't even go with that.
Well, everybody knows my motto about podcasting. We all podcast the same, as just you hold your mic different. So that's just my little funny nod there. So the thing that I liked is I found out about Capsho.
Yes.
Capsho is the first podcast copywriter. This bad boy, Deidre Shin, runs this with a few other people. Hopefully I didn't chop up her name. And
sorry if he did.
Sorry if I did. And we used it for this upcoming week's episode to prove a point. It produced my show notes. It produced an email. It produced all the marketing that you need.
Great.
I seen an increase of 60% on an Instagram post by taking the blog post, because I don't even have a blog. I took the blog post that they created and I put it in with the image that I had made for it off of Canva. And more people came along. It was different people. It wasn't my same whatever people that like all my stuff because I like their stuff.
Right.
So I seen that increase there. On Facebook, I didn't necessarily look at the statistics, but I seen a higher growth, more people. Okay. We got more people following the show. So I was like, wow, this one copywriter did my social marketing for me better than I do when I'm out here and I've got to hashtag it out and different stuff like that. So the thing that I want to get out of this is I want to be able to be constructed better when it comes to how I'm doing things, because I already have the time frame and stuff set up how I want to do it. That,
And I think it would be nice if everything was in one area. Like, I feel like you have to jump through a bunch of different hurdles to achieve the outcome that you want to achieve. And I think with, what did you say it was, Capsho?
Yeah, Capsho.
With Capsho, it really helps reduce some of that already. There is 3 different tiers with Capsho. The only downfall that I see with it is, so far, is that only 4 episodes a month is what is included in that. Now, we haven't went into it a whole bunch to know how much each additional episode is each month. But if you're anything like JR, you might do 10 episodes in 1 week just to have your episodes already ready.
Right.
Because it makes it easier and allows you to have a life outside of podcasting. So those are some questions that we hopefully get to talk to her about and learn more, and to kind of maybe get her to better explain each area, each tier.
Yes.
Because even the lowest tier, it still sounds enticing. Like, it makes me interested in it. And with you saying you're already seeing growth through Instagram and Facebook, it makes me excited to see Friday or Saturday, whenever your episode comes out Thursday, how that's going to be.
And the crazy thing is that I didn't even talk about the rest. I'll just go into one last tidbit. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows that I'm a business professional on LinkedIn. So over on LinkedIn, I put it over there. And LinkedIn, it's gone fire.
Right.
And the difference between LinkedIn and Instagram and all these other places, you can go to a guru and get that explained to you. I'm just going to say this. The LinkedIn people are the ones that are interactive, and they're the actual people that I can tailor back to from my email list, that when it comes to subscribing to the show, rolling through a full episode, because on average with our show, if we do a normal hour show, we keep a listener for 48 minutes.
Right.
So after I learned that, I learned the cap shows, unless it's something really good, if it's a show that goes over 120 minutes, I'll split that show and it'll be a 2-part.
Right, and that's your best option, because I get tired of sitting there and listening to someone talk for over an hour.
Right.
Sorry, unless it's one of these. Which one was it? There's a true crime one that I really enjoy listening to, and because they kind of make it fun. But I'm not saying that your stuff isn't fun or whatever. But you got to think, people's attention spans nowadays, especially with the way TikTok is, you just get to the point, and you don't want to be over
You don't want to be over.
I don't know what the word I'm looking for.
Basically, you don't want to be oversaturated.
Right.
And that's a good example. Like, I'll give you one. Everybody knows that I am a huge fan of the Common Mystics.
Yes.
Because they do a narrative podcast, and it follows the same vein as a true crime, but it tells a history story with their psychic abilities. That's like TV for me. That's like olden time radio in the 50s, I guess.
Right.
So I can listen to that all day. Now, what I do, like you said, I don't do any type of narrative thing. I'm just your question guy. We get a little emotion out. We get some information. You go to the show notes, and you go follow that person wherever they go.
Right. It's kind of like the one coming out Thursday. Is that your...
Emotional
eating. Yeah. Like, I don't want to sit there and listen for 2 hours of someone explaining to me why I'm overeating because of my emotions. I want to learn as much as I can from you in the shortest amount of time possible.
You're right. And with that one, it was clear cut, concise, and basically she said, hey, you can look at these and see if these would be, I like how she did an alternative to what you're doing to help you. If it's going to be eating, emotional eating, you don't necessarily have to eat something healthy, but just portion.
Right.
You know, instead of, because sometimes I know back in the day I would eat the whole Rocky Road ice cream, crush it all. Or any, the Ben & Jerry's plain, I'm going to crush that. But anyway, so in going to Podfest, and this is, like I said, we were doing this one first, like my anticipations are very high to learn.
Yes.
The technology aspect is there are all kinds of stuff going on. I can't name anything because of privacy reasons. Once I get access to the people, there are certain softwares and things I want to learn because I want to be 100% honest with people. This is what kills me inside podcasting. I love Zoom, but not the Zoom mics. Zoom Corp is fine. Zoom Corp and Zoom Communications are two different companies, not related at all. Zoom Corp does our mics, our ZDM ones, our headphones. I don't even know what the number is on them, and our Zoom recorder. So much love to them because they have expanded our podcast, and heck, we got a whole new sound.
Right, because these mics with this headphone is amazing. Because the one thing you always hear me complaining about to you is that I can't hear you talking when you make me put regular headphones on. But now I can hear myself and I can hear you within these headphones and the mic.
Yeah, so big kudos to them because we got the city of them. But the thing that gets me is going back to the Zoom software. When I'm recording with someone and I have to go back in and master something, like edit it and go through the first rough draft, Zoom, and I've tried other alternatives because there's some other alternatives that work, like Riverside works, but Riverside has some issues. And I have not gone full into detail. I have done nothing with SteamYard, so I'm excited about that at some point. But what I found is all that stuff is Android based. And we're Apple people over here, iOS all day long. So I got to go download a Chrome browser and do all this extra stuff. And not everybody's equipped to do that. So that's one thing that has, technology-wise, I want to find a better alternative to Zoom. Because if I want to do remote interviews, which we have stuff now that we do, me and her do a live show together. Well, just an in-person show. So when we do this in person, this is probably the best audio quality that we get. And I don't care what kind of mic someone has. It's all about the internet connection with Zoom. And sometimes I'm dealing with people in North Dakota.
Right.
And that sounds bad. So technology-wise at Podfest, I want to find something that's not an alternative. I want to find a replacement for Zoom.
Right. Something that's going to kind of give me the same feel, but better result.
Right. And then I want to hear, the different stories and stuff like that. That's a great thing about coming to a thing like this. But mainly the driving forces for me are the business end of things.
Right.
Because creative-wise, I think everybody that's a podcaster, I don't care who you are, even if we feuded, everybody's creative in their own spaces.
Right. What you're doing is working for you, obviously, or you wouldn't continue to do it.
Right. And I guess that's mainly it for this episode, unless you have anything else to add for this part. Actually, I'm sorry. Can I flip it real quick? What are your expectations? We didn't even really do that heavy.
No, that's all right. I don't want to talk about that. I have no expectations. I'm coming as a supporting person. Anybody that listens and knows anything behind the scenes, I'm the person that sits here and talks with you about certain things. I'll share your stuff. I'll give you some ideas of what we want to talk about, but I mean, you do the most with it. I'll create your stickers, I'll do your QR codes, I'll do that kind of stuff, but you're the mastermind behind it, so I came to support you on this.
Well, I greatly appreciate that, and you're more than just you're my coach, you're my partner in life, you're the reason that I keep doing what I'm doing. because in all honesty, I just wanted to do a podcast about video games and how the systems load wrong. But anyway, on to a brighter note with this. We will have a second and a third portion or segment to this, hopefully.
Right. And we're already at 25 minutes. So, I mean, I think we should break it down into different episodes.
Yeah, so she's already, I said, she already made executive decisions. I know like she don't. So we'll have different parts to this. So
please follow WV Uncommonplace on Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, TikTok, where we have some great content, Facebook, LinkedIn. Hit up the merch store at uncommonplace.square.site. Join the email list from the website, and rate, subscribe, and give feedback from your favorite podcatcher. And lastly, thanks for listening, and tune into the next episode.